I actually can't believe I forgot Satu Sabali. Not on purpose. Not on purpose. Satu Sabali will be joining the New York Liberty. How wild is that? And it's actually a pretty interesting move for this team. Obviously, they just lost her sister in the expansion draft. But Sabali joins Jonquel Jones, Leonie Fibbage, and we are waiting for the contracts for Breanna Stewart and Sabrina Ionescu. At this point, it's pretty much expected that they'll re-sign with the team. But I still say they're holding out to see what these contracts look like so they can get the best possible deal. Sabrina's actually cored, so really we're just waiting on her contract and whatever they're going to iron out with Stewie. So between these two and Asia Wilson, that's when we'll see the biggest contracts. Now, as far as the Liberty are concerned, I think Sabali adds some versatility to this group. Obviously on the wing position where they were a little short last year. We haven't heard from Natasha Cloud, but we can only assume she's re-signing as well. And even then, that's not a good assumption. She can end up on any of these teams. But for the Liberty, keeping these five right here, that would be their statement to at least say, hey, we're still trying to go for a championship. You know, you're at least making the playoffs with this squad here. So I think it's an interesting move for Sabali more than the Liberty. She seemed like everything was going to go okay in Phoenix, but obviously something changed. So I like this for the Liberty. I think it's a great new start for her. I don't think we've got to see everything she really has to offer on the team. We barely got to see her in Dallas. We got that one season for the Mercury. They did make it to the playoffs, but we lost her towards the end there and didn't get to see her at all in Unrivaled. So a new season with the Liberty, this could be fun. And then just looking at some of the contracts here to get an idea of what some of these players are looking for. When you look at a player like Courtney Williams, she's got a 2-year max contract. She's considered to be on a max contract, a regular max contract. So in the first year, she's getting a little under 1.2, and then in the second year, basically a little over 1.2. And that's just Courtney Williams. You look at somebody like Kayla McBride, almost the exact same contract. You know, then when you get into somebody like Gabby Williams, she's got a 3-year contract, 1.2, 1.2, 1.3. A full regular max is what they're calling it. But again, she's got that 3rd year added on there. So the max contracts are going to look very similar to this, your 2 and 3 year deals. Now, Neko Gumake apparently went for 1 year. She's got $950,000 on her contract, you know, to join the Sparks and add to that team. And then you have Dearica Hamby, and it looks like she signed a little bit less than the max, right? That first year she's at 1.1, second year 1.1, third year a little under 1.2. So she got a little less than the max. And then looking at Kelsey Plum, she took that $1 right below $1 million, but it's basically $1 million for 1 year. So she's kind of on par with the rest of these max deals. Alyssa Thomas's deal, that's a max contract, 1.2, 1.2, 1.2, all 3 years. She played no games, and she's in Phoenix, one of the best organizations to be with as far as your training facility, staff, and just overall treatment from your ownership. And then we got to look at the Ariel Atkins deal as well. Now, she did sign this with Chicago, essentially making it a sign and trade, but 1 million, 1.1, 1.2. So just under the max for Ariel Atkins, which is a little surprising, but hey, get your bag. So that's just so we can have an idea of what these contracts will look like, especially when we hear what Asia's and Sabrina's and Stewie's look like, and revisiting what that means for each team and their salary cap. We talked about it very quickly on the first day when everything shook loose, but the Connecticut Sun quietly built a little squad over there. This is their last season. They're going to be moving to Houston next season, and one of their first moves was trading for Diamond Miller and giving up Ryan Marshall, which doesn't seem like a bad move. Honestly, she's a number 2 pick from a few years ago, and because of injuries, not only did she lose her starting spot, she got traded. So for a team that's trying to perform on their last season, this could be a space where she gets a little runway. Hopefully she gets some playing time, because I know coming in at the number 2 pick, you definitely don't expect to get shuffled around the league. And they still have Aaliyah Edwards. Olivia Nelson-Ododa did re-sign. They still have Sanaya Rivers. All those rookie contracts are just going to scale to the new salary rates. Kennedy Burke, Anissa Morrow, and they did sign Brittany Griner. So I like what Connecticut did. I don't really think they're contenders or anything like that, but this does kind of give you a way to go out in Connecticut. And really, again, players like Diamond Miller, Kennedy Burke, players that'll probably go into the next few seasons trying to raise their stock and keep their stock high, this is a good season to play for this team if that's where you are in your career. And of course, you know, you got to shout out Coach Ron. I love Renika Hodges, especially after watching her in Unrivaled. So I have a lot of respect for Connecticut. Hopefully they can go out with a bang, whatever that means for this team. Now, a team we didn't fully dive into was the Wings. Again, this is one of those squads we got into early when free agency first started. I'm happy for Cheyenne Sellers. I think this is a great move considering they're probably going to pick up a guard in the draft. You still got JJ Quinterly, Isaiah James, Grace Berger, all great backup guards, right? I'm not sure if Ryan Marshall will make it. I think this is a great position for Jessica Shepard and Alana Smith. The Wings got tough. I mean, they really beefed up their squad. Every position not only has a great starter, again, including whoever they bring in the draft, and then a good backup. I mean, past their starting five, they got a killer bench. I just love what the Wings did here. Not only did they load up heavy in their guards, Paige Beckers, Arike Agumbawale, I mean, that's already a decent backcourt. And then you fill out your bigs, Alana Smith, Jessica Shepard, Maddie Seegers, you still have Lee Yaroo. So I really don't think they can go wrong in the draft, but they've already put themselves in a position to make the playoffs this year and go even further next year. I think this is one of those teams that'll surprise us this season and then just go even further as they play more together. You know, we got to circle back to the Valkyries. They were able to sign Stokes over from the Aces, and we're keeping Kayla Thornton. So gotta love that for the Valkyries. I think that's good, keeping the bigs tight and together. I still want to see who they draft. So far, it's a solid team. I got very, very excited with Gabby Williams. I think that gives us one of the best anchors we could ask for, but I got to see them play before I can say how far they're going to playoffs. I like what we're doing so far. All right, and then just to kind of wrap up with the Aces, they are keeping Alyssa Smith. They're also keeping Dana Evans, which I think is a pretty decent move considering she was solid for them throughout that playoff run. I mean, looking at what's out there, I think this is a great guard to have coming off the bench. So the Aces ended up bringing a lot of folks back. They're going to look pretty much the same. And shout out Nola Henry, another great coach from Unrivaled. We're like 99% sure they're bringing back Asia. We know they signed Jewel Lloyd, again, Alyssa Smith, Dana Evans. So they're probably going to make some moves after the draft. Honestly, this is going to be a team that's picking up role players as they run out of options. So I don't really think we'll know what this roster looks like, you know, right up until opening night. But they're staying solid, so it'll be interesting to see how they move through the season. Again, looking almost exactly the same as last season, while 12 out of the 15 other teams will look completely different. All right, and then lastly, I just wanted to say my piece on the Sky. I'm a big fan of Dejanay Carrington. The Sky are building a little team. Skylar Diggins, Rakia Jackson. I mean, they still have Camila Cardoso, and now you add Azare Stevens. I still think they need guards, like solid guards, but this is not a team I'm openly rooting for. I wear my hateration on my sleeve, and this will be one of the teams I hate on. Again, I am a big fan of all these players, but that's the fun about this. We're allowed to have a little hateration. It's all in jest. It's all in fun. So, watching them play, I will be clapping for Dejanay Carrington while actively rooting for the other team to win.
Don't forget to like and subscribe, players.